Thank you very much, distinguished Majority Leader. Mr. Speaker, my topic this afternoon is solar power. This is not going to be a highly technical presentation on solar power. Far from that, as this representation is no expert in solar. And I doubt there's anyone in this house who is. But I believe I know enough to give a general presentation on what is happening and emerging in the world of solar power. And I'd like to start by reading a headline, an old headline. When solar crossover hits, the world will quake. The most important financial event of this decade will be called crossover. That's the point at which solar energy becomes cheaper than fossil fuel energy. Crossover will transform energy economics. It puts a thumb down on energy prices. When costs for exploiting a fuel source go above the crossover price, the fuel source becomes uneconomic as solar cell production scales to medium. Crossover happens in different places, in different ways, partly because the economics of solar and fossil energy are different. And I'd like to quote a research organization in India called CARE. According to Rivati Kasur, in the last few years, the solar capital cost has primarily reduced on account of one, cost reduction on account of capacity glut demand of 25 gigawatts versus capacity of 50 gigawatts, and number two, the entry of Chinese players into solar cell manufacturing has reduced solar capital costs. The study group believes that solar power is expected to reach grid parity by 2017, that is, cost equivalent to average grid cost of conventional energy sources, primarily on account of capital cost reduction of solar projects, increasing economies of scale, and improvement in rapidly maturing solar photovoltaic technology. And another headline, solar installation costs down dramatically since 2010. The cost of solar installations in all sectors has decreased by a significant amount in the past 2 years. According to a recent study, an article, the cost of residential installations such as rooftop solar have gone down by 15.6% since the first quarter of 2010. The cost reductions are even higher for non-residential solar, which saw a 27.2% decrease, and utility-scale solar saw the greatest increase of 54.8%. Another headline, my dear colleagues, $257 billion invested in renewable energy in 2011. That was last year. According to the United Nations, the total global investment in renewable energy last year amounted to a record high of $257 billion, and more than half of these were spent on solar energy due to a high demand for rooftop photovoltaic installations in Germany, Italy, China, and Britain, and large-scale solar thermal installations in Spain and the United States. China spent $52 billion on renewable energy, and more than half of that on solar last year, almost a fifth of the total investment volume. The United States came in second with investments of $51 billion. Germany, Italy, and India rounded out the top five. But unfortunately, here in the Philippines, and I'd like to read an article that came out in the Manila Standard sometime about 60 days ago. Government shuns solar. That is a very sad headline that has appeared in the Philippines. Sunlight. And I'd like to read the article. Sunlight, probably the most natural and readily available form of energy, can easily cover the rising electricity demand in the Philippines and energize the homes of around 4 million Filipinos in remote areas who still spend the night in the dark. The Energy Department, however, is not ready to endorse full development of solar energy projects just yet, claiming solar solar technology remain expensive and will only drive prices of electricity higher. Solar energy developers, however, disputed this, saying the cost of solar energy projects was rapidly going down. In fact, solar projects mounted on rooftops, which harness energy from the sun and convert it to electricity, are already providing electricity to several power plant communities outside the power grid at a cost of as low as 15,000 pesos per installation. Solar home systems are guaranteed to last up to 25 years. The Asian Development Bank inaugurated its own solar rooftop project at its headquarters in Ortigas, Mandaluyong on June 5. The 2,040 photovoltaic panels occupying 6,640 square meters of the roof of ADB's main building is the biggest solar-mounted rooftop today. Once completed, the ADB rooftop project will generate 613 megawatt-hours of electricity per year to run a portion of the bank's air conditioning, lighting, and computer systems, in effect, reducing the bank's carbon footprint. Aside from solar rooftop projects, the Energy Department has approved 17 solar power projects with combined power generation capacity of 271.22 megawatts that were supposed to be connected to the grid. Another 24 project with combined capacity of 170 megawatts from the department. Among the biggest projects are the proposed 50 megawatt Asukin Bulco solar power project in the Ilocos Norte, the 50 megawatt Clark Freeport solar project in Mabalacat, Pampanga, of Belgian firm Infinity Philippines. Infinity also proposed a 30 megawatt solar project in Cavite. Development of these projects, however, are threatened by the Energy Department decision to put a 50 megawatt cap on solar energy generation for 3 years, which was 50% lower than the 100 megawatt recommended by the National Renewable Energy Board. This means that only 50 megawatts of solar power projects can be connected to the main power grid each year. Techi Capellan, founding president of the Philippine Solar Power Alliance, predicted grid parity would be achieved by 2014 here in the Philippines. Capellan also said the impact to consumers of the solar utilization was only 0.01 peso per kilowatt hour under the FIP feed-in tariff allowance or the universal charge when all consumers were expected to pay for the cost of renewable energy. That was assuming a FIP of 17 pesos per kilowatt hour. But my dear colleagues, the approval of the Department of Energy was much lower than that. Now, I'd like to, another headline, Belgian firm, in spite of the lower feed-in tariff of 9.68 pesos per kilowatt hour for solar, the Belgian firm still announced that they're still keen on Philippine solar projects. Infinity Philippines Renewable Resources Incorporated, a local arm of Belgian renewable energy developer Infinity, has committed to push through with its planned solar power portfolio in the Philippines, despite the low feed-in tariff rate granted for solar power generation. Now, I'd like to give a quick briefing on the physics and engineering of solar power. How does solar energy work? The heart and soul of modern-day solar power systems is the photovoltaic or PV panel, a technology that NASA used for the first time in 1958 when it launched its first solar-powered satellite, Vanguard 1. As the name implies, photo giving light and voltaic meaning electricity, photovoltaics convert sunlight directly into electricity. Made most commonly of silicon, individual cells are connected electrically and packaged into frames called solar panels, positioned strategically on your roof to capture the sun's energy. When the sun shines, the electricity travels from the panels through wires into a piece of equipment called an inverter. An inverter converts the type of electricity produced by the panels called direct current or DC into the type of power your home uses called alternating current or AC. Once the electricity goes to the inverter, it travels for a while into your home's electrical panel to fill your electrical needs. At night, when your panels are not generating electricity, you continue to get electricity from the local utility. But during the day, your solar panel may produce more power than you consume, feeding power into the utility grid, supplying clean electricity to your community, and spinning your meter backward. And I'd like to show the infographic below for a summary of the above. And you can see the diagram here. Solar power cells convert sunlight into electricity. The current goes to the grid. And now on renewable energy sources, solar energy systems, there are several applications of renewable energy, solar energy systems. One is the solar thermal system, which is quite popular in Spain. The radiated solar energy is absorbed and converted to heat or thermal energy, which can be stored, conducted, or transferred and used for consumption, like for example hot water, or for further energy conversion, like for example production of electricity by use of a turbine. Collection of solar energy is possible through the use of solar collectors, dark colored surfaces positioned to face the sun and absorb sun heat and then transfer to another medium. But to me, the more exciting is the photovoltaic systems. And I already explained this. Photovoltaic solar panels convert solar radiation through a process called photoelectric effect into electricity. Thus, solar energy is converted into electric energy in the form of direct current. Photovoltaic systems can be used either in autonomous installations, in remote areas where generated electricity is consumed on the spot of generation for own electric needs, or in photovoltaic systems connected to the power distribution network, where generated electricity is transferred over the grid and is consumed at different locations. Of course, there are so many detractors when it comes to solar power, and I would like to cite some of the myths that are being spread around as far as solar power is concerned. For example, myth number one, you need to have batteries if you want a solar system. Well, this used to be true, but today, this is not anymore true because your home or business is already getting power from the grid. You don't need to go off-grid to reap the rewards of solar. Solar systems with the utility grid already in place is called grid tie. Grid tie uses no batteries, none. Solar produces electricity that's used in the home, and if it's more than what the home needs, it turns the utility meter backwards. This excess power gets saved to the utility grid for rainy days and nights when solar doesn't produce. Another myth, it has to be a perfectly clear day for solar to work. Solar panels certainly work better when it's sunny, but they also work better when it's cold out there, just like any electronics. The prime condition for a solar panel to perform is a cold, sunny winter day in the high elevation. You can't get much better than that. That said, there are three other seasons, for example, in the temperate areas in many places where solar is installed that is at sea level and maybe doesn't ever see winter. Solar panels produce power even in low light conditions such as cloudy weather and early morning. Another myth would be solar power is not abundant enough to power the world. This is of course very false. As the article notes, everything on Earth consumes something like 15,000 gigawatts of power. However, the Earth absorbs something like 89 petawatts of solar energy. Peta is a number followed by 15 zeros. Just to dramatize to you how big this number is. 89 petawatts of solar energy on the surface and about twice that in the atmosphere. Since a single petawatt equals 1 million gigawatts. That means if we can collect a mere 0.00017% of the solar energy that hits the Earth, we will have enough energy to power all of the Earth's needs for an entire headline goes, German solar energy production sets a new world record. Germany has once again set a world record for solar energy production. The country has become one of the strongest advocates of solar energy and continues to proceed the adoption of green technology and power in the hopes of attaining more sustainability. Though recent cuts in the country's solar energy policies and initiatives have been made by the government, the German solar energy industry seems to continue to pick up momentum. Solar energy production has now reached an all-time high in the country. Another headline, solar power provided 10% of Germany's electricity needs. According to the data by a German Water and Energy Trade Association, solar power generated from solar photovoltaic systems last May of this year, produced 10% of Germany's total electricity consumption for the month. When you compare that from the May of 2011 last year, that's a 40% increase. This increase can be attributed to the fact that currently there are more than 1 million solar systems installed all over Germany. And I'd like to show you a picture of how a solar farm looks like in Germany. Here's another picture. Germany has set another impressive record for solar power consumption. Solar power usage in Germany has increased by 50% since last year. The country's solar resources have pulled in a phenomenal 14.7 terawatt hours in the first 6 months of 2012 alone, which amount to 4.5% of Germany's power needs. In 2011, Germany's photovoltaic power reached just 19 terawatts for the entire year, 5 terawatts shy of productions during the first 6 months of 2012. The ambitious spike in solar power consumption is thanks to a boom in solar systems being installed across the country, with more being constructed each day. In just 4 months, the Germans have installed an additional 73,756 solar power systems across the German countryside, with more is sprouting up each week. Combined, the new systems have an output of 2,328 megawatts. German homes and businesses already are responsible for 1.2 million working photovoltaic plants, which have been installed over the past few years with no incentives other than clean energy. In the UK, another headline, world's largest solar bridge being constructed in UK. I'd like to show you this picture of how this bridge will look like after completion. What is going to happen here? A remarkable rooftop solar project is now under construction in the UK. Solar Century reports it is installing a solar roof containing over 4,000 photovoltaic panels above a bridge spanning the river Thames, the famous Thames River, a part of the Blackfriars Station. When complete, the Blackfriars Bridge will be the world's largest solar bridge. According to Solar Century, the solar panels are expected to generate an estimated 900,000 kilowatt hours of electricity annually, some 50% of the station's energy requirements. Carbon dioxide emissions will be reduced by an estimated 511 tons per year. In addition to solar panels, other energy saving measures at the new station will include rain harvesting system and sunlight from natural lighting. In China, here is the headline, China to quadruple 2015 solar energy target. Due to the massive balance between supply and demand for solar cells, largely due to the huge manufacturing output in China, prices of photovoltaic panels have fallen to unprofitably low levels, etc. It seems that China is looking to take advantage of its huge photovoltaic cell manufacturing industry and also attempt to readdress the balance between supply and demand by quadrupling its 2015 solar power target. At the end of 2011, China boasted about 3.1 gigawatts of installed solar capacity, yet the new target will see a further 21 gigawatt development projects across the country before 2015. And according to Lian Roy, a senior analyst for Solar Fast, he said that with a significant tumble in photovoltaic prices, the timetable for mass use is ahead of time. The new target is still very conservative Council, China's national cabinet is currently reviewing plans, but it looks like the renewable energy plan for 2011 and 2015 will come out first. Details of the plan are already leaking to the press, and thus far, it looks like the biggest story will be solar. According to the Chinese media, the new renewable energy plan will raise solar targets to unprecedented levels. 10 gigawatts of installed solar capacity by 2015, including 9 gigawatts of photovoltaic installations and 1 gigawatt of solar thermal electric power generation, and 50 gigawatts total installed capacity by 2020. The United States is currently ahead of China with 2.6 gigawatts installed solar capacity at year-end 2010. But China might be able to overtake the United States because of this development. In Taiwan, another headline, although this is not a big project, Taiwan will start solar power project even in this track list. Taiwan Central Energy News Agency reported Tuesday night Taiwan was to hold a groundbreaking ceremony in Taiping Island in the track list for new solar installation. It said expected guests the ceremony arrived Tuesday at the island port with 2,000-ton Coast Guard administration vessel. I cite the base just to show you the extent of what the possibilities there are as far as solar energy is concerned. India. The headline in India reads, India looks for solar electricity to power remote villages. The village of 400 in central India's Madhya Pradesh state lies 70 kilometers from the nearest town, and until last year it was not supplied with power. Daily chores were completed between sunrise and sunset, or else by the light of polluting kerosene lamps. Our village has never had electricity. But now, Mirwada doesn't just live by the sun, it harnesses it. San Edison, a California-based solar power service company, selected Mirwada as the first village in its eradication of darkness program, which aims to light up 150 villages throughout India, Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The electricity is not free. Household pays $1 to $1.50 per month for electricity, an amount equivalent to what they're paying for kerosene. But the pilot project has made Nevada a forerunner in India. With the cost of solar photovoltaic cells falling, prices dropped by 50% last year and are now a quarter of what they were in 2008. Renewable energy advocates say India is ripe for a solar power revolution, and it could use it. With around 300 sunny days a year nationwide, just like here in the Philippines, solar energy's potential in India is immense. And with $10.2 billion in investments in green energy, money is starting to follow the opportunity. India received $95 billion in venture capital funding and over $1.1 billion in large-scale funding for solar projects in 2011, according to a report by Merton Capital, a clean energy consulting firm. Another headline, photovoltaic and concentrated solar power is the solution for India's grid problem. India's largest solar power plant starts production. There's another blazing headline in India in what had been termed as a major leap towards solar power generation. In western Rajasthan, the country's largest solar power plant with an installed capacity of 40 megawatts started producing electricity from Saturday. Minister for New and Renewable Energy, Farooq Abdullah, and I would like to emphasize, they have a Minister for New and Renewable Energy, and that is the Minister for Energy, Farooq Abdullah, Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, and Energy Minister Jitendra Singh inaugurated a 40 megawatt photovoltaic solar plant installed by Reliance Power at Pokhran in Jaisalmer district. Another headline, solar power is the future of energy. This is still in India. Former chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission of India and former director of the Baba Atomic Research Center, Anil Kapoor, has called solar energy the future source of energy looking at the ever-growing demand for energy. And I would like to stress this, no less than the former chairman of the Atomic Energy Energy Commission of India and former director of the Baba Atomic Research Center, is saying that solar energy is the future of energy in India. Another headline: rush for solar projects in Tamil Nadu's first mega land deals. With the government set to roll out an exclusive solar power policy in a month, there is a mad scramble for land. Buyers are ready to purchase more than 1,000 acres in a single deal to set up solar farms in various parts of India. In other barren areas, say industry sources, Tamil Nadu has a high average solar energy incidence and number of sunset hours per year. The new policy is likely to incentivize investment in solar power generation as in Gujarat. This scramble for land has resulted in a huge rise in revenue from property registration in the first quarter of this fiscal year. Solar power for irrigation, very visible. This is in Bangladesh. Bangladesh, which has been counting on buying diesel and giving subsidy up to 40% on the same provided fuel to the irrigation in the agricultural sector every year, can meet the fuel demand through solar energy. Vice Chancellor of United International University, Professor Muhammad Aswan Khan said this at the seminar on solar energy in Chicago. In Japan, the headline screams, after Fukushima, Japan takes giant leap into solar power. More than a year after the Fukushima nuclear disaster began, Japan is on the fast track to becoming one of the largest solar photovoltaic markets in the world, overtaking both Germany and Italy. Similar to the other countries, Japan's solar panel industry will be fueled by feed-in tariffs. After the Fukushima disaster and the shutting down of many nuclear power plants in Japan, this new policy is driven by the desire for some serious change. There's a big gap in the grid where clean energy can replace nuclear power, which previously supplied 220 gigawatts or 21% of Japan's power. Japan opens solar energy parks. Another headline. Japan opens several solar energy parks on Sunday as a new law came into force, requiring companies to purchase renewable energy at a fixed price and a push for alternatives to nuclear power. And there's a picture of a large-scale solar power plant that was opened at the start of the ceremony somewhere in Kyoto. In the United States, Interior Department set aside millions of acres for solar power. The Obama administration on Tuesday announced its final plan for fast-tracking large-scale solar energy projects in the vast portion of the West, promising installations with enough wattage to power nearly 7 million homes over the next decade. Solar power booms. Solar power booms shines for consumers. Solar energy is gaining funds among homeowners. It is another headline in the United States. We've seen a dramatic decrease in the price of solar power over the past year. That has helped residential and commercial use of solar. The United States now poised to lead the world in solar energy installations within just a few years, as lower cost of the technology and zero down financing plans and subsidies to people across the nation to cleaner forms of solar power that save money and energy. Another headline: solar energy market sees rapid growth in California. And you can see here the map of California. California has been working to incorporate more solar energy into its overarching energy plans. The state has proven itself a leader in terms of solar energy installations, boasting of more than 1,482 megawatts of capacity as of the first quarter of 2012, the second highest in the nation. So it was beaten out by New Jersey in terms of solar energy installations. That is quite a big surprise because California has more sun definitely than New Jersey. Though it was beaten out by New Jersey in terms of solar energy installations, California will be rising to the top position in the energy market, according to a new study from Sunrun, a solar energy company. Map shows when solar power is a bargain. In 2013, the cost of solar power in San Diego, California created a handy graphic to illustrate when so-called grid parity will be achieved. The interactive graphic posted in the Energy Self-Reliance States website shows when this moment will be reached in the major US cities between now and 2027. Parity is a tipping point when democratization of the electricity system not only makes political and economic sense, but becomes more competitive than using utility-delivered electricity. These calculations assume that the cost of solar will continue to fall by 7% a year, and grid electricity will rise at 2% a year. If true, then San Diego will be the first to reach the parity milestone, followed by New York in 2015. From there, parity is progressively reached across the southern tier of the United States, with the cloudy, rainy northern hometown of Seattle not reaching parity until 2027. And I have here a graph of the world annual photovoltaic production, and you can see an almost exponential growth as predicted by the scientist Ray Kurzweil. For solar power production shows a clear logarithmic growth that, if continued, will have solar providing enough electricity to power the world in just 20 years, within the lifetime of some of the members of the House today. Another headline: cabinet official praised the opening of nation's first solar field on public land near Rim. Secretary of the Interior Ken Salazar poses with some people here a solar company. It is a 50-megawatt plant, the first large-scale solar energy power project on public lands. It has 800,000 thin-film photovoltaic panels and can generate enough power for about 9,000 homes. And according to Salazar, this is a historic day. This is a landmark project that represents a bold step in achieving the energy future that we want in the United States. The Obama administration has made opening public lands to renewable energy projects a priority as part of its all of the above program. Solar energy project approved on tribal land near Las Vegas at the headline. The federal government Thursday approved a massive 350 megawatt solar energy project to be built on land in Clark County belonging to the land of Paiute Indian tribe. It will be the first utility-scale solar project on tribal land. The project, covering about 2,000 acres, would be located 30 miles north of Las Vegas and occupy about 3% of the tribe's land, which is held in trust by the U.S. government. This operation will generate enough electricity to power 100,000 homes. I would like to stress 100,000 homes, the Department of the Interior said in a statement. And in this process, the tribal people will be earning income also, because the project is expected to generate 400 construction jobs and up to 20 permanent jobs, according to the Department of the Interior. And when finished, it will generate least income for the tribe and connect its existing power infrastructure, lessening reliance on diesel power and natives. And this gives us an idea of the potential tribal land here in the Philippines. Solar energy investment boosts New Jersey's economy. All of us are familiar with the climate in New Jersey would wonder how can solar power prosper in a land like New Jersey, but it is happening. It is now leading in the United States. New Jersey's clean energy program has stimulated industry with enormous economic impact and expanding potential. The program has just started our entrepreneurial spirit and established new projects that are 4 areas where the solar industry provides a net benefit impact to New Jersey economy. One is job creation, other government revenue, environmental stewardship, among others. Among universities, University of Maryland unveils a new rooftop solar power array. The University of Maryland says a new rooftop solar power array atop the College Park building is one of the largest in the Washington area. The university says that 2,600 panels unveiled Wednesday on top of the several building provide enough power for 872 homes. And again, this gives us an idea of what can be the potential of in March in the Philippines with a lot of land and a lot of rooftop. Solar in Australia. Solar panels cutting Australia's main electricity consumption. The result of a study released earlier today show energy efficiency efforts and solar power installations are reducing Australia's main grid supplied electricity consumption and most electricity prices. According to a report, over the last 3 years, electricity consumption in the eastern states' national electricity market has dropped by 3.2%, equivalent to 6,565 gigawatt hours. Over half of the reduction is directly attributed to the installation of rooftop solar panels and solar hot water systems, as energy efficiency initiatives supported by the New South Wales and Victorian government. Brazil solar energy at $299 a megawatt hour competes with grid. Producing power from rooftop solar panels in Brazil costs less than electricity sold by 10 the country's 63 power distributors, according to the National Energy Agency Empresa Energetica. Electricity from a typical 5 kilowatt system costs about 602 reals or $299 a megawatt hour. Said today the report, distributors charge 240 reals or 709 reals for residential power. That makes power from rooftop solar systems competitive with electricity from companies including Ampla Energia, Acervicos, and Energetica Leginas derives. That is what's happening in Brazil today. In Mexico, solar energy is the headline. Solar energy beginning to skyrocket in Mexico. Mexico has begun showing serious interest in solar energy recently. Currently, the country is home to 0.6 to 6 megawatts of installed solar energy system. According to Conemex, the country's leading solar energy company, Mexico is poised to reach 12 megawatts of installed solar energy system by the end of 2012. Energy sources Latin America set on solar energy growth. It is happening in many parts of Latin America. In Africa, boosting solar energy in Tanzania. It is also happening in Tanzania. Tanzania has a very good potential for power generation from renewable energy sources. Some renewable energy technologies are available in Tanzania. The application covers heating, lighting, electricity, cooking, refrigeration, transportation, drying, and water pumping, etc., etc. And believe it or not, experts urge Arab countries to exploit solar energy potential. Energy experts have suddenly predicted that solar energy will be the most important source of energy in the Middle East within the next decade, calling on all regional governments to shift from the reliance on oil to clean renewable energy resources. Energy drives the economy and helps create job opportunities, the expert said, underscoring that the Arab world has a high potential for exploiting solar energy, as it has the most sunny daylight hours of any region in the world. The Arab world is not only sitting on a huge oil reserve, but also a huge reserve of solar energy, according to one of the panelists in a session conducted on environment and the reserve. He called on the governments of the region to require energy companies under construction materials and analysis of water consumption in order to increase water efficiency and preserve limited water resources. Saudi Arabia moves towards solar and nuclear energy under headline in the Middle East. The United Arab Emirates were the first to announce the construction of a nuclear power plant after the side agreement in 2009. They are planning to invest up to $100 billion in nuclear energy, but the Saudis are not pursuing a nuclear energy policy only, announcing this past May that they were already ready to invest $109 billion in a solar energy production plant, even bigger than their nuclear energy plant. The kingdom plans to have 41,000 megawatts of solar capacity within 20 years, according to the King Abdullah City for Atomic and Renewable Energy. The Saudis are planning to produce solar energy through two methods: concentrated solar gigawatts of solar power using concentrated solar power, even though it is relatively more expensive than photovoltaic power. And in Oman plans a 200 megawatt concentrated solar power plant. The 6 Gulf states have outlined concrete plans for tapping renewables to ease the dependence on hydrocarbons for power generation. Oman, for example, is starting plans for the implementation of 200 megawatt concentrated solar power plant having already initiated in number of pilot solar, wind energy, and solar wind hybrid ventures at key locations around the country. In Malaysia, the headline says solar power transforming lives. Solar power is improving the living conditions of thousands of Mozambicans living in rural areas not connected to the national electricity network. Even in the Virgin Islands, PSC launched solar power generation. And then, of course, back to Europe power spot eases solar output rise. European spot power prices fell slightly on Wednesday. This was last month. Led by a higher solar energy output in Germany that offset higher consumption and an elevated outage level of French nuclear plants. Like I said, Germany's day-ahead base load was €1 down on the day at 48 euros a megawatt hour, and the equivalent French contract fell 2.25 euros, 48.25 euros per megawatt hour. Then, of course, very exciting, the field of transportation is $16 billion solar boat sails into record boats. A sun power ship circles the globe on solar power alone. And this is the boat Turanor, named after the power of the sun. After 8 years of fundraising, 64,000 hours of construction, and 19 months at sea, the Turanor made history on May 6th when it cruised into Port Benjamin's Monaco, completing the first ever round-the-world journey by a solar power vessel. The coast of Miami, the shores of Cong and his foreman crew visited 28 countries, including the Philippines. The voyage designed to showcase the practical application of solar energy. The $16 million vessel only boasts 136 square meters of shiny photovoltaic panels, but also the world's largest rechargeable lithium battery, capable of storing enough power to allow the Turanor to travel for 5 good days without sunlight. And this representation is an opportunity to visit this magical, very impressive solar ship that I visited in MS Turanor, the solar-powered boat on July 30, 2011. Last year, I even got the opportunity to see what is inside and talk to the master of the boat. And I visited the solar-powered boat on July 30. I can show here also the solar panels of the MV MS Turanor. Solar cells could produce energy-generating windows, another technological breakthrough. Imagine the windows generating solar power. Researchers from prominent California University have developed a new transparent solar cell that they say could be used to create windows which generate electricity. As such, this allows the cells, which are crafted from a type of photoactive plastic that converts infrared light into electric current that be nearly 70% transparent to the human eye. The LA person said in the research statement. Possible breakthrough. Another possible breakthrough in solar energy. New research opens up the more efficient ways of converting solar energy into electricity. When the sun's rays are converted into electricity that we can use in our own houses, some 70% of the energy goes to waste. This waste poses a great problem for solar energy as a renewable energy source. But now, a more efficient technique might help solve the problem. The solution is based on the research land. Somewhere the flight is intended to show support for the world's largest solar thermal plant being built in the Sahara. However, the flight of the solar plant in Sahara Desert wasn't the most impressive news to come out of this week. The real story was the historic 2,500-kilometer flight to Morocco earlier in June. 2,500-kilometer flight without using conventional fuel. The flight proved to the world that solar power has the capability to perform real work, and we offer the world real solutions to cut back on the consumption of fossil fuels. The HPSIA has over 11,000 solar cells mounted on top of a massive wingspan of 63.4 meters. Although the plane can take off and land successfully, and it has a capacity to travel day and night for 4 to 6 days. It does have some, of course, some limitations. Like, for example, it has an enormous wingspan. If solar technologies, fossil materials, and electrical business vehicle plants is possible that one day larger commercial aircraft will be drawing energy from the sun, lasting solar energy from the sky above. I would like to end by this statement. If that day comes, Bertrand and Andre, the designers of the solar plane, will clearly recognize the history books as the Wright brothers of the solar plane. But the Wright brothers did as far as human technology is concerned. That note, my colleagues in the House of Representatives, I would like to thank you for giving me the privilege and the opportunity to give me a briefing of the world of solar power and what is happening in the world today as far as solar power is concerned. Those things are happening in countries like Germany, India, China, the United States, the states like New Jersey. The same thing can happen, even more so, here in the Philippines. So the only thing that we need is to have the boldness and the audacity to think something bigger, something more ambitious as far as solar power is concerned. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure for the gentleman 66. If the honorable Congressman Roilo Golez would like to hear the questions, like to expound the questions.
It is my privilege, Mr. Speaker.
Well, first of all, Mr. Speaker, Your Honorable Golez, may I congratulate you for the scholarly research about solar power. It's indeed very interesting and very educational briefing. And for that, I congratulate you. But the first question that I would like to ask is, in the opinion of the Roilo Golez, with the new technology, how much probably would be the logical cost per kilowatt hour if we would be able to successfully implement the solar power?
The Department of Energy approved through its agency a feed-in tariff of 9.68 pesos per kilowatt hour. Now, on the basis of 17.92 feed-in tariff, that was the one presumed answerable every year, it was estimated that this would have an effect of centavos per kilowatt hour, 0.1 per kilowatt hour, which is almost negligible. Of course, based on the conventional kilowatt hour, and that is a small, very small municipal price to pay for paving the way for a brighter tomorrow as far as energy is concerned. Imagine if we could be, let's say, even 40%, 50% dependent on solar instead of fossil fuel. Can you imagine what that would do to our economy? Speaker distinguished colleague from Cebu.
Well, it is really a very interesting information, Mr. Speaker, because right now, in the island of Bantayan, including the subsidy that we are extending, the rate of the electric cooperative in Bantayan Island is practically around 20 pesos per kilowatt hour, which is really very high. And I agree that this rate that you have mentioned is just an introductory rate, that it can, in the course of improving technology, will be reduced in the future. Not to mention very safe operations of solar energy compared with this traditional energy. And for this purpose, Mr. Speaker, would you have any proposal for the Department of Energy to venture on a bigger scale the development of solar energy, especially in the island grid, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, I understand from experts, as I said, I opened my presentation by saying that I'm no expert. I just talk to some experts every now and then. Maybe a little. And I'd like to correct my earlier statement that the impact of FIT, feed-in tariff of 17.92 that was presumed before was 0.01 per kilowatt-hour. But now that they've reduced this to 9.68, the impact will be about half of that only, 0.005 per kilowatt-hour. And I understand also from experts that this would be very ideal for off-grid places, my home province in Lod, Bantayan Island, not being town in northern Cebu. It would be very ideal because right now you are paying more, a lot more than those that are connected to the grid, for example, so it would be very economical. Not to mention the fact that this can be installed in about a year. Like you use fossil fuel, coal-fired, it will take about 3 years. Nuclear will take about 10 years. And this is modular also. You can start with 1 megawatt, 3 megawatts, 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts, and then increase as the demand increases. That's why my proposal to the Department of Energy is not to put a very delimiting cap of 50 megawatts. I think 50 megawatts, other countries are already in the gigawatt level, and we are in the 50 megawatt level. India has a population of about 1.2, maybe a little over 1 billion, or population about 100 billion in a few years. 110. In other words, if India is planning in the gigawatt level, we should be planning at least the 110 of that. It should be much bigger than the 50 megawatt proposed by the Department of Energy. That's why I delivered this privilege speech in the hope that the Department of Energy can reconsider their position.
Well, I am
with you by the avenue for island provinces, island places like Bantayan, Lod, Siquijor, other small islands to begin the Philippines that are not connected to the grid.
Yes, Your Honor, I am with you on that effort. But for the information of the body, more or less, can you give us a rough estimate of how much is the investment per megawatt of power which can be generated from the solar, if you have any figure?
The latest figure I got is $2.2 million. 2.2 can be $2 million per megawatt.
2 million.
2 million.
2 million. So that
And you need something like about maybe 2 hectares per megawatt. Something like that, very close to that. Just that I'm not a technical expert, but it consumes a lot of hectares.
well, it is a very interesting figure to consider, Mr. Speaker, because right now, I'm using Antayan because this is the most logical system that we can more or less compare, because we are being subsidized. And I tell you, the subsidy that is given by the government on exploration in Antayan is even smaller compared with the one in Camotes. And for information of the Ronald, Camotes has even a bigger, higher rates than Antayan. Right now, subsidy included, Camotes is already charging at the rate of about 25 pesos per kilowatt hour.
I think solar is going to produce electricity there.
Yes.
At a much lower rate than that per kilowatt hour.
Yeah, and not only that, Mr. Speaker, the subsidy being given right now every month is already roughly around 10 million pesos per month subsidy. So if the cost per megawatt is roughly around $2 million, which is something like $90. Right, 90 million pesos.
Less than 90 million.
Yes. That means if you generate 3, that's 270 million. It's just about a year of subsidy given to this cooperative. And if we use the subsidy to install what you have already explained, the system, which is not only at this point in time, compared with the cost of operating 2 islands cheaper, it is also safer. It's also ideal because we're talking here of small island trade.
That is correct. There are no carbon emissions, and I understand from the experts that we can last at least 25 years. In other words, you can use that fuel-free for at least 25 years.
That's correct. And by the way, Your Honor, let me ask always an idea of how many years these countries you mentioned, Germany, China, USA, how many years have they been already installing the system, or at least operating this solar system? Because
I don't have the exact history. But I know that there have been some dramatic, I mentioned, increases of 40%, 25%, very big increases on an annual basis. And the trigger for this is the cheaper cost of solar panels because of overproduction in China, and their cutting of costs in China, which is good for the solar power producing industry. Not so good if you are in the business of producing solar panels. For example, say you are a US-based solar panel producer like Cylinder. Then you go under because you cannot beat the competition. But this kind of competition is offered by China, and Germany is also improving its system in China. Korea is also in the production. Then it's going to be good for the solar power generation industry and good for the consumers. Especially when we reach grid parity. Grid parity is estimated in 2014 in some countries, 2017 in the Philippines, depending on the indigenous
And this is safer because you're not only transmitting very low voltage compared with the existing system that we have, whereby a high voltage of 64,000 is being transmitted all over the country, like what we have now. In the case of solar, we're talking only of direct current of 24 volts, direct inverted. You have to convert it, not inverted, into alternative of 110 to 20 volts. In other words, you are transmitting very low voltage, very safe, very little. And how about the possibility of danger in terms of typhoons? Do you have any study whether this can withstand strong winds or even rainfall? Usually, we don't go in country like what happened the last week.
I've talked with many experts, some of them audits, and they're not afraid to venture into typhoon province provinces like, for example, Leyte, Samar, Bundon, Visayas area, Bicol area. In other words, they believe that they can adjust the design to make it typhoon-proof.
Last question, Your Honor. Having done research, do we have interested big players who would want to venture into putting up this solar power industry in the country? So that if we have interested investors, then perhaps we can request the Department of Energy to initiate a move in line with your plans and programs and your vision, provide more reliable, cheaper, and renewable source of energy.
Well, there is a Philippine Solar Power Alliance, and I quoted the founding president when she said that parity will be achieved by 2015 grid parity. Perhaps this is the organization that look into parity to lead. There are many players coming. A lot of them are interested in the Philippines because they know the Philippines will be a very good laboratory for solar power because of the kind of sun that we have. Notwithstanding the kind of weather that we've been exposed to this past week, they believe that the new technology of solar panels will still make solar power very viable.
Well, as I said, I support fully the effort of Roilo Golez for calling the Department of Energy going to the venture of allowing the motion of this very important renewable source of energy.
But we have to interject. I know, Mr. Speaker, how many megawatts do you think Antaya needs?
Well, for now, the maximum demand is 4 megawatts.
4, yeah, that's very ideal.
Yeah, very ideal. In the same area of commodities, we also projected the maximum demand of 4 megawatts. But let's say for the purposes of accommodating or expanding.
That's the beauty of solar power. It is visible, it is modular. You don't have to have this big plants that are oversized compared to the needs of you don't need 3 years to install the power generating plant. At the same time, be done in 1 year.
So, having shown your interest, Your Honor, in this renewable source of energy, I'd like to request the Golez to include the 3 islands in Cebu for the possible installation of this solar energy in order for us to avail of this really very important, very safe, renewable
much, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Speaker. It's a pleasure of the Honorable David.
Mr. Speaker, before I proceed with the interpretation, I request that we acknowledge the guests.
Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, may we be allowed to acknowledge the guest of Congressman Romualdo of the Low District of Cavite, headed by Mayor Maria Luisa Romualdo, Vice Mayor James Elaranco, the municipal councilors and staff. They're also here with us, Honorable Jaime Baclayo, the Honorable Roldan Chan, Honorable Rene Menciano, Honorable Rodolfo Salcedo, Honorable Maribig Jansol, the Honorable Raquel Lanara, Miss Catherine Obatao, Engineer Leonidas Ocravit, Mr. Roel Oliveros, Mr. Mark Ibahay, Mr. Benjamin Jansol, and Mr. Yves Dan Romualdo.
Welcome to the House of Representatives. Salamat po sa inyo.
And may we also be allowed to acknowledge the guests of the Diocese of Antipolo, the pro-life